Goge Africa, aye, aye. Goge Africa. Uza uza wa goge. Uza uza wa goge. Uza uza wa goge. Uza uza wa goge. Goge Africa. Aye, Goge Africa, aye, Goge Africa, aye, Goge Africa. Uza uza wa goge, 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 uza uza wa goge. Uza uza wa goge, uza uza wa goge, uza uza wa goge. Uza, 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 uza.
Go get Africa.
Aye, aye. Aye, aye.
Go get Africa.
uza uza wagoge, uza uza wagoge. Uza wagoge, uza uza wagoge, uza 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 wagoge, uza uza wagoge, uza uza wagoge, uza 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 wagoge.
Awesome. I've joined in already.
Yeah. I can see Shina. Silola.
Yes, please.
I can see you there. Yeah. Good to have you, bro.
My pleasure too, sir.
said it's good to have you, man. So in a few minutes, we'll be going live.
Okay, thank you. My pleasure.
Yeah. I'm sure people are still logging in.
I think so.
Are still logging in.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yes. Yes. Okay, we'll give a few minutes of grace to allow those who are logging in late to log on.
Log in. That's okay. That's okay.
All right.
I want to suggest for proper transition, maybe the slides should be shared from your end instead of us.
Oh, yes. Okay,
So,
that's a fine suggestion. We can do that from our end here.
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Shin is suggesting that the slide be shared from our end. Is that okay, George?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Please, hi, good afternoon. Hello.
Hello. Hello,
Yeah,
Alhaji.
good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Well done. I say I have a small write-up. Or I don't. Is there a need for any presentation, on the slide, or I can just go through it a little bit here at my end?
Oh, yes, I think you can start from your end. However, if we had it,
Okay.
if we had it earlier, I would have been able to lay it on from our end.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but I have it on WhatsApp. I can, if you want me to forward it on WhatsApp, I can, because it just has to do with, and that the topic you gave me, enabling environment for investment in domestic tourism, just to look at
right.
what we need. So that's okay. Let me just talk on it. Then if there's a need later on, I can forward it so that you can compile your report.
Yeah, our notes, yes.
Okay,
yes. That's, I think that's the way we can go now, because right now we are already live.
I'll just forward it. I'll forward it to you then. All right, thank you.
We're already live. Yes.
Okay.
Hey, I see Emmanuel. I see a gentleman on the screen. Okay, we're counting down to getting started.
Okay.
All right. My name is Isaac Moses, and I'm the CEO of Goge Africa Worldwide Limited. Good afternoon, distinguished participants of this all-important web conference. I'm aware of participants from different time zones. We're glad you could join us. Thanks to everyone for joining us on this historic conference series. It's historic because this is the first time tourism entrepreneurs, the creative sector, investors, and the diaspora, financial institutions, corporate Nigeria, and the government have all come together to collaborate towards the development of tourism and the creative sector of Nigerian economy. It's disruptive because tourism and tourism stakeholders in Nigeria will no longer be sidelined. Tourism will no longer be neglected. Oil has already given way. Tourism is the biggest employer of labor worldwide. It rakes in over $500 billion annually. Dubai, like Nigeria, has oil, yet its highest earning is from tourism. In 2018 alone, Dubai recorded more than $64 billion from tourism. And Nigerian traveling population in 2018 contributed 36% of that money. The essence of this meeting is to collectively decide to develop our own industry, our domestic tourism industry. We're not going to wait for government and enabling environment. If Nollywood waited for enabling environment, they will still be waiting. If Go Africa waited for enabling environment or government support, it will still be waiting. So collaboration has been very effective over time. The music industry had not waited for government enablement. They have done collaborations with different artists around Africa, and they are booming. So domestic tourism will not wait for enabling environment anymore. We're going to start with the low-hanging fruits. Some Nigerian tourism entrepreneurs make a living by just packaging and executing tours within Nigeria. Our churches attract the highest percentage of inbound tourism. Yes. So some Nigerian tourism entrepreneurs make a living by just packaging and executing tours within Nigeria. Our churches attract the highest percentage of inbound tourism. So when people say Nigeria is not safe, I laugh because I have been around and seen other countries too. According to statistics, Nigeria is safer than USA. Can you believe that? It's safer than South Africa. It's safer than Mexico. Yet most people in Nigeria will do anything just to get an American visa. Why? Because America has packaged and sold itself to you as the best country in the world, a land of opportunities. Every country have their issues and challenges, and Nigeria is not an exception. But we, as Nigerians, have a collective responsibility to package and manage the information we share to the world about us. Media is very powerful. We have to use it positively to our own advantage. And on that note, I welcome you all to cross-sectoral collaboration for tourism and economic development. Nneka and I will see you through this proceeding. Thank you for being with us. So without wasting further time, we're going to introduce the first speaker, who is the president of Epton. He's going to be speaking on
enabling environment for investment, domestic tourism.
Alhaji Rabu, Saleh Rabu. You're welcome on board.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think, can I go on?
Oh, yes, go ahead.
Okay. Okay. The introduction has been done already. My name is Alhaji Saleh Rabu. I'm the president of the Federation of Tourism Associations of Nigeria, Epton, which is the private sector umbrella body for all the tourism stakeholders in Nigeria. First of all, I would like to use this opportunity to congratulate Go Africa for what they have been doing for the tourism industry. For over 20 years, I have known them, and they've been going all corners of Nigeria and Africa, trying to promote not only Nigerian tourism, but the entire African tourism. I think this is a very great job. And this is not even coming at a time when this COVID-19 has now cut down and brought down travel to only our environment, which now brings us to the topic that has even been given to me. How do we enable the environment for investment in the domestic tourism? Now, the COVID-19 has made it difficult for people to travel internationally. All our airports are still closed internationally. So we are not, for now, expecting any international tourists to start visiting us. So we are not going to sit down and fold our arms. We need to think out of the box. How do we develop domestic tourism? How do we encourage Nigerians to now begin to travel within Nigeria? Because that is what is the domestic tourism. When we travel within our Nigerian, country. And Nigeria is very rich in terms of resources, both natural and then human resources. God has blessed us all, from the north to the south to the middle belt. Every part of the country is blessed with one attraction or the other. There are some professionals who are even say that if you take Nigeria as a country, each village has a product that it can offer. So if each village, each locality has something that can offer, why don't we develop these things and begin to promote them and begin to, get people to go around them and visit them? So for the organizers of this program today to choose the topic of cross-sectoral collaboration, I think this is at the nick of time, because we must collaborate. That is the word, collaboration. This thing cannot be done alone. If you take the tourism value chain, you have to look at, you start from the tour operator, who now puts the packages together. He gets the hotelier, he gets the airline, he gets the destination owner, he gets the car hire, he gets the maybe organizers of crafts, or people who organize festivals and all this. You have to put all these things together. So there is need for close collaboration among all the stakeholders for us to be able to move the domestic tourism sector forward. Let me just take a look at statistics a little bit. If you look at it, according to the recent report published by WTTC, that's World Tourism Travel Council, they said domestic tourism accounts for about 73% of the total travel spending globally. So if domestic tourism accounts for that, so why don't we as a country, develop our domestic tourism so that we can benefit from this 73%? Because if you take Nigeria with a population of over 200 million people and about 923,000 square kilometers, we have a very vast and large country, and we have the population. Therefore, all we need to do is to harness all our resources together and then work in collaboration, like the organizers have said, with the various sectors that are in charge of this thing, so that together we can now fashion out an industry that can be supported and can be promoted by all of us. First of all, I took a list of some of the things that we need to put in place, to create the enabling environment. There's a provision of infrastructure, because for tourism, domestic tourism or whichever tourism to flourish, there must be provision of basic infrastructure. We need roads, good accessibilities to the sites. We need good, power supply. We need artists to be encouraged to be, productive in terms of producing handicrafts and souvenirs that when visitors come around, they can buy. And for us to develop our sites, there is the need for collaboration between the private sector and the government. You see, we cannot keep on saying we'll be depending on waiting for government to do. If we keep waiting for government, nothing is going to happen. We need to wake up. We need to begin to do things ourselves. We need to collaborate amongst ourselves to be able to develop this infrastructure so that we can have accessibility to the tourist sites. When you go to most of our tourist sites, you find that there are even no conveniences, no good roads, like we have said. There is the need for us to create all these things so that we will begin to encourage people to move around Nigeria. And it is only when we're able to get the domestic tourism right that we will expect and we will start seeing, when the international tourism starts, then you start seeing international tourists coming in. Because by then, we've already known our routes, we've already created all the sites to be visited, then the international tourists will just come and key into it. So there is the need for us to have these proper basic infrastructures in place so that we can be able to create the good environment for domestic tourism to flourish. And then secondly, again, we need very good government policies. You see, governments, as we know them, they are supposed to create the enabling environment for businesses to flourish. And if you can see what government has been trying to do in terms of ease of doing business with the immigration, it has been helping, because personally I have helped some people who came in and got visas on arrival and then they entered Nigeria. But if we're even talking of domestic tourism, you don't even need visa to be able to travel. All we need is to move from one part of the country to the other. So what we need in terms of that is the provision of good security. If there is good security, people can be able to move freely. We try to curb down. I know the government is doing its best. There is general insecurity all over the world because of this terrorism and because of poverty. All these things are creating to part of the problems that we're having. But we need to support the government. We need to come up together and then see how this security can be provided so that people can be able to move freely and visit their relatives, visit their friends. We have people all over Nigeria. There has been a lot of intermarriages among Nigerians. So we need to develop these things so that people can feel free to go from point A to point B, from point C to point D, so that together we can be able to promote domestic tourism. And then another area that we need to really develop is to execute a robust tourism destination marketing communication, so that we can try to do a lot of contacts, a lot of marketing about what we have, what we can offer as a country and as for domestic tourism. Because now the key thing is the domestic tourism. That is what we need to develop. And we must collaborate, like we have said. We must collaborate with all the stakeholders to be able to give priority to domestic tourism. And prioritizing of tourism as an economic driver. We need to prioritize and say tourism, we just like we've given preference to agriculture, to mining, and other sectors of the economy. We need to prioritize domestic tourism too. Both private sector and the government need to understand that we need to give priority to domestic tourism, because that is the only way we can be able to remove people from poverty. We can be able to create employment for people. We can be able to, create economic activities, because you can imagine the number of people that will be employed if you have visitors coming to a community. Those people selling food, those people selling souvenirs, those people receiving the tour guides. So many people in the tourism value chain that are going to be, beneficiaries of the domestic tourism. So to look at creating the enabling for investment in domestic tourism.
Hello.
I'm sure it's a technical hitch.
Can you hear?
Once again, I wish to, congratulate the organizers, and I wish to welcome all those participants and those that are going to present in different areas. We need to all work together. We need to put our together on deck, so that together, because now is the time. And if we don't do it now, then we are not going to get it again. So the COVID-19, despite the disadvantages, it has its own advantages. For us to develop our country, develop our domestic tourism, so that together we can build an economy that is going to be sustainable and that is going to stand the test of time. So once again, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to talk, and I wish us a successful deliberation, and I'll be around again if there's anything, question or anything for me to answer. I'll be ready to answer it at any time. So once again, thank you very much for the organizers, and I look forward to a robust discussion. Thank you, Madam Nenga.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so very much, President. Well, he is the president of Federation of Tourism Association of Nigeria. Every association in Nigeria that has to do with tourism is under this umbrella. Thank you so much, sir. Well, I intentionally allowed him to speak first, so that by the time he finishes talking, you guys, everybody here will understand why he had to speak first, because there's nobody else that would have explained it better. So on our panel today, we have a bank that is very keen on supporting the development of tourism and the creative sector in Nigeria. They actually came to us last year and sounded the idea, and we were so surprised. I said, is it possible that a bank will approach a sector and say, let's do business together? On that note, I would like to welcome our panelists from Sterling Bank. So I'd like you to introduce yourself, say hello to everybody, and after you, I'll go to the next panelist so that the audience will get to meet you. Okay. So please, Mr. Shina.
Thank you, Dekan, for the opportunity and privilege. Like the first speaker, let me first of all commend the good job that you are doing. You have gone like John the Baptist to prepare the way for some of us coming behind you. Yes, you are surprised as a bank. Really and truly, before my presentation, let me just say, bankers, we know nothing.
No, you're not presenting now, sir.
I know.
We just, okay.
We know nothing about any sector. We are always willing to learn. My name is Shino Atilola. I'm primarily responsible for retail and consumer banking in Sterling Bank, and also responsible for incubating new sectors that we want to go into, in which tourism is the key sector we want to learn from and we want to work with you on to build. Thank you for the opportunity and privilege.
Thank you, sir. And from Sterling Bank, we'll move to Mtn. That's another corporate organization in Nigeria that has been promoting our domestic tourism without making too much noise about it. Most community festivals we have in Nigeria came to the fore today because MTN put their weight behind it. They have taken us as Goge Africa around Nigeria. They have done this for over, I think, about 14 years or more, thereabouts. And it's not easy when you find a corporate body that believes in the people. MTN believes that the soul and heart of the people are in their culture. On that note, I would like to introduce Mr. Adebi, that is representing MTN today. So please, I think I prefer you to introduce yourself actually. Hello, MTN. Mr. Adekunle, are you here? Okay, I think I see him, but let me continue to, yes. Okay, let me continue to the, a private sector player.
Can you hear me now?
He's actually the, oh, okay, cool. Yes, I can hear you now, sir.
Yeah, it's a bit of
pleasure to have you here. Oh,
Thank
okay.
you so much. I think someone had to or mute me at your end. So that's
Oh,
why it
okay.
looked like, yeah. So my name is Adekunle Adebi, like you rightly introduced. I'm the Chief Sales and Distribution Officer for Mtn Nigeria. And I'm indeed glad to be here. Just like the other gentleman had mentioned, I think Gogi Africa is you lead and others follow. So we are indeed grateful that we're working with you on this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Okay. On that note, I would also like to go further. Like I said, I was going to introduce someone that is very strong in the private sector. I will just give you, okay, let me just go straight. He's the president of Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association of Nigeria. He's going to come up and introduce himself by himself, as some people will say. So, Sir Alexander Muba, are you here?
Yes, I am. Good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here this afternoon.
Okay. Okay. You also have another portfolio in the industry that has to do with hospitality. Do you want to share with us?
Yes, I will actually in my presentation. It's there in my presentation. So when I do that, yes.
Okay, when it's time for your presentation, everybody will get to know you much better.
Thank you.
Okay, and you're welcome. Then from the diaspora, we have the co-founder of Recom Group Foundation. I would actually want him to introduce himself better because there's a twist to it. Are you here with us now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. That's a young man that is doing good in the US. So can we just introduce yourself briefly?
Okay. Good morning from this side. It's 10 o'clock and it's 3 o'clock in Nigeria. My name is Dr. Architect Raphael Iluemuno Ajalia. I'm a proud Nigerian, of course, born in Nigeria. Presently, I'm a member of parliament of the State of the African Diaspora and also co-founder of an organization called the Realcom Group and the Realcom Foundation. Now, from my standpoint, tourism has always been a beautiful thing God has given to us from nature. And I'm happy to be one of the panelists for the Goji Africa. The Goji Africa team have always been mentors. And presently, what we do here is this. We try to take a lot of Nigerians from diaspora and bring them back home. It's time for us to invest in tourism. If some of us contact me and say, Ralph, we need homes in Nigeria, in Ghana, why don't we use this particular money and also invest in Nigeria to build tourism? So I'm very proud to be here. There's a lot we have to talk about. I've seen a lot of Nigerians investing in Maldives, Seychelles. Why can't we do the same for Nigeria? So by the time it's time to elaborate more, I would like us to talk more about the results we have in Nigeria and how other Nigerians abroad can also invest. I thank Sir Alexandra. I think I chatted with him on LinkedIn some days ago over joining the Association of Pilots. And one of the reasons I wanted to do that is I have a chain of female pilots that I work with here. And of course, we have been planning to come to Africa to have aviation school set up. So we will get to talk to Sir Alexandra in depth later. I'm proud to be a Nigerian, and by God's grace, we'll do our best.
Okay.
For a lot of Nigerians who are.
Thank you, Dr. Raphael. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Raphael. We're almost always constrained for time when we're on a webinar. You understand people are going to be seated for a prolonged period of time. So we try to make it as short as possible, but it's just so much pleasure I will have you here with us today. The last person I was going to introduce is His Royal Highness, His Majesty, His Royal Majesty, the Obi of Onitsha. He is on his way to Oka now. There's a slight issue. He sent a text and called this morning and said we should continue. If he's able to finish up what he needed to do, it has to do with community. I wouldn't say dispute, but I mean, his intervention is like needed urgently. So if he doesn't show up this week, we'll push him on to next week because he has quite a lot to share with us. And on that note, I would like to let everybody know that each speaker has 10 to 15 minutes to talk. We shall allow 5 minutes for questions. And any question that you're not able to ask right now, you can, go to the, type it on the streaming feed, and we will get back to you and make sure whoever you directed the question to answers you. And perhaps we'll actually share it to everybody in this platform. And at this point, would like to welcome, I don't know if Mr. Alex is ready. Alex Muba, if you're ready, that would be nice.
I'm ready.
We'll go straight to you because I know a lot of people have questions to ask. Before I call you up to start talking, I'd like to find out, is there any hands raised that needs to ask Alhaji Rabo, Epton President, any question at this point? Okay, can we take, if we have hands raised, can we take one of the questions? My operators, can you please unmute one of them so that we can get a question? Thank you. Okay, so who is coming up now with a question? Are you able to unmute him? Okay, if not, can you speak now? We can hear you. Hello. Okay, perhaps you have to write your questions down for the sake of time. Let's move on, and everybody is keen. Personally, I'm also very keen to hear Mr. Alex Muba share his experiences and knowledge with us this afternoon. Sir, you're on.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here this afternoon. Thank you, Gojay, for the invitation. We've worked many years in many industries that I've been in looking at it. In particular, since you've introduced MTN, I'd like to thank them for the data that I'm using that will be reliable to carry us through this session. This is always a challenge in this environment. So I will start by putting up my screen. 1 second.
Okay.
Do you see my screen?
Yes, I do. Robbery rates.
Very good. Sorry, 1 second, please. Okay, so I'm speaking to the team of the meeting, as well as at the end talking about the specific issues that surround the subjects of investment opportunities. So basically, to introduce myself, I am the president of the Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association of Nigeria, AOPA, and AOPA is a unit, one of the branches of the International Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association, which is the largest aircraft ownership and pilots association in the world. I'm also a member of the advisory board of the African Association of Hospitality Professionals. I am also the chairman of the West African Fashion Council. You'll be surprised that fashion is a component of tourism. And I have been the CEO of 3 West African airlines and have consulted in the tourism sectors for Nigeria, Republic of Benin, Sierra Leone, Guinea, Niger, Liberia, and the private sectors in Nigeria as well, Ghana, Gambia, Mali, Togo, and Cameroon, all of the places which I have visited by both land and by air. Okay, and I'm also, my regular job is the chairman of a Ghanaian-based investment company that invests in the sector. So I start by the basics. What is tourism? And basically, it is the purpose of travel for pleasure or business. And one of the primary drivers for economic growth and job creation in emerging economies throughout the world. I know I'm speaking to professionals, but I want to cover areas because they go to the question at the end, okay? So basically, worldwide overnight tourism has exceeded 1.2 billion people pre-COVID. It is increased 25% over the past 5 years and contributes $7.2 trillion to the global economy. The reason for tourism is it fuels economic transformation of countries, it creates a great many jobs, provides promise for remote regions and developing regions, accelerates reforms, triggers infrastructure development. We have to make things work to attract tourists, drive domestic consumption and diversifies exports, empowers women, young people, and marginalized populations. It provides stimulus for cultural heritage and environmental conservation. So the tourism sector provides 8.8% of all of the world's jobs, about 258 million people. It provides 9.1% of the world's GDP, $6 trillion, 5.8% of global exports, 1.1 trillion, and 4.5% of investments, 652 billion, according to WTTC. In 2015, foreign direct investments to African continent, it totaled 54 billion, development assistance 51 billion, and tourism generated 39.2 billion and created 9.1 million direct jobs. In sub-Saharan Africa, I provided a chart of the potential jobs created for tourism, and you have colors to show you. My presentation is available through Goji Africa at any time that you may require it, okay? And to the sub-Saharan economies, it contributes to East Africa 5.5% to the gross domestic product in East Africa, 3.4% in South Africa, and only 2% in West Africa, and 1.7% in Central Africa. It provides half of the service exports in the region, 49.7%. South Africa receives 40% of all tourist receipts, and 91%, $13 billion of which, $13 billion of which 91% goes to South Africa. In East Africa, Kenya, Mauritius, and Tanzania receive over 1 billion in tourist receipts. But in West Africa, Ghana and Nigeria are the biggest tourist earners, accounting for 60% of all sub-regional receipts. There's a chart here of where each country lies with respect to its development level and its sector in tourism. That information is available to you. I have 10 minutes and I want to maximize the presentation. So, proactive government support can make tourism a powerful and transformative development tool. Take Thailand. Tourism barely existed in the 1960s, but in 2010, it employed 20% of the workforce. The Dominican Republic had 1,600 rooms in 1972, and by 2011, 66,000 rooms. Bali, a small island in Indonesia, received only 95,000 international tourists in 1973. By 2010, it had received 1.9 million tourists who spent $1.9 billion. Cancun in Mexico grew from an uninhabited peninsula into one of the most visited resorts in the world in just 35 years. Egypt from 1990 to 2005 grew from 2.9 million visitors to 8.6, and by 2010, about 15 million tourists, and on and on. So the challenges are that we have to look at the tourism contributions to jobs, which we know is currently undervalued. And a lot of what we talk about tourism is not actually supported by data. And another challenge is that the economic development organizations and destiny marketing organizations do not collaborate, which creates a challenge. And then, of course, I listened to this presentation and a number of presentations earlier, and often you hear governments say that the private sector should lead. One of the other challenges are we don't all speak the same languages. Tourism benefits are not easy to see. And in some cases, it's difficult to gather data, and we sometimes see the benefits as fuzzy. And then there's the issue of the quality of a place. And then obviously the issue of collaboration, which the president spoke about earlier. Tourism covers all industries. It covers all the basic industries and the non-basic industries. The key drivers are global economic factors. As we see today, COVID is a downer on the tourism sector. Demographics, the exchange rate, which is working to advantage at the present time. And of course, the benefits are GDP growth and employment. I put this picture here to point to the fact that Aki and Popo are actually tourism draws. So when we say tourism pays, I put this up to show you that consumers at the very top of the pyramid use services, trains, rental cars, airplanes, cruise lines, and the revenue that comes from that goes into accommodation, entertainment, sports arenas, shopping, restaurants, and banks, who provide all kinds of jobs across many sectors of the economy that drives other sectors of the economy. So in essence, tourism is very key to economic development. I provided a chart on tourism spending in Nigeria, and it showed that it only represents 2.9% of exports, down from 5.14 in 2017, which has been going up over the years, but we had a decline in 2018. In Nigeria, tourism only provides 5% of jobs. Okay, it contributes 5% to GDP and only 1.6% of jobs. And you will see the importance of this as we go further. So it has obviously many impacts. You can improve the quality of transportation networks to support tourism. You realize the improving quality of life. It increases the destination's profile, and that's very, very important because we seem to all have the very wrong perception of the Nigerian market for tourism, okay? And then you use it to attract strategic events. The key to anything we do is the return in investment, and we will be talking about that. Now, we talk about tourism, but it's also very important to measure its economic impact because we need that for accountability, to draw sponsorship, to draw funding, to encourage government support, to encourage the community's buy-in and support. And we need all sorts of metrics to perform, to do year-to-year analysis. Okay, here's a number for 2016, which is the latest data we have for 5.2 million arrivals in Nigeria. And the ratio is 0.0027 tourists per resident. Nigeria is 175th in the world for tourism and 7th in Africa. If you look at the inbound arrivals to Nigeria, and this is key to determining where your customers exist, number one inbound arrival point is Niger Republic, followed by Benin Republic, our neighbor, followed by Cameroon, the immediate communities, then the United States, 4%, China, 4%, China and the United States running to the same levels, 72% of the world, but is broken up in percentages less than these numbers, okay? On the other hand, if we look at the outbound departures, outbound is 17% to the US, 16% to Ghana, 12% to Saudi Arabia, 9% to the UK, which is our traditional trading partner, 5% to South Africa, and the rest of the world, 40%. Okay, and the ratio of leisure to business is 55% leisure, surprisingly, and 45% business. Okay, domestic spend is 80% with international spend 25%. So in order to measure these impacts, which is what we need to develop our tourism sector, we have to look at the sectors, their impacts and the effects. And I've provided this for you to look at on your time. And so anytime we look at the money for how does that relate? We have to look at the direct income effects of tourism, also the direct income effects, the employment effects, because these are the key drivers we're looking for. For every direct effect, there's an indirect effect and the tax benefit. So basically, I repeat it, we look at the direct, indirect, induced impacts, the contribution to gross domestic product, the labor income, employment, and tax impacts. So going back to generally, the average price of a 7-day trip to Nigeria is $1,722. That's the average amount a tourist will spend. That's for a solo traveler. And a couple, $3,179 for your planning purposes. But $954 for a family of 4. The average hotel ranges from $27 to $127 per night with an average of $44. The source is there for you to look at. A person visiting Lagos, to take Lagos, to extract Lagos from the general figure, will spend an average of $21. And if he stays overnight, will spend $43. Lagos State reported in 2018 that it generated $50 billion in December alone in this sector. So basically, we look at the economic impacts and the beyond economic impacts, and additional as well as the additional benefits in looking at this subject matter. Okay, and if I look at additional benefits, there's an opportunity for the development of independent entrepreneurs. There's an opportunity for development of a workforce. We can attract new residents. We can create youth employment, exhibit our cultural diversity, improve our transportation infrastructure, and of course, increase the price. You can imagine the pride of the Calabar residents every December when tourists come from all over the world. Okay, so in order to all, of course, do this, we have to share data. We need to share metrics. We need to develop proper tools and techniques. And this, as the banks are interested in this sector, these are the areas they must look at as well. We have to define who is a tourist. Too often, when we think of tourists, we think of somebody, an African-American from the United States. But of course, we have tourists from neighboring countries, and we've seen the major areas where people are coming into the country from other reports you've seen on my charts. Okay, we also need to look to the issue of training. We need to look at the tools and resources, establish tools, and create measurements for volume and marketing efforts. So we also have to encourage tourism stakeholders through collaboration. We have to define tourism events. We have a few of those, but like was said earlier by the Epton president, every village is a tourist site. So we have to develop all of these. We have to align economic development, and that's why you cannot take government out of this process. Okay, you have to align economic development with the tourism messages, and we need to co-op economic development and tourism marketing. We need common goals. You know, when we say the private sector should drive this, it simply cannot work if everybody is looking at it from one view that is not collaborative, okay? So that we can attract more tourists, create higher spend per tourist, that's the key thing, and creates greater local share of the global tourist market. We have to, in achieving higher spend per tourists, we have to look at how do we increase the greater length of stay, how do we serve and target high spending tourists, how do we encourage tourists to spend money, and how do we make for the increased availability of goods and services. It is important in any tourism endeavor to look at the local market share, okay? Therefore, we look at the linkages between the food, accommodation, and the retail businesses. We need, and small scale business, we talk about SME development all the time, but we really need to look at tourism as one of those key elements. And in that regard, we need investment in entrepreneurship training, customer service, and tourism education. Tourism education is particularly important. Anybody that's been to Jamaica knows that every single Jamaican understands the role a tourist plays within the economy. And so it's not enough to just say we want to have tourism without training everybody within those communities to understand the importance of that tourist or that visitor who is coming sometimes for the first time and becomes the point of relay to future visitors. We need to increase the local input into the supply chain, okay? We need to look at the issue of accommodation, attracting retailers, restaurants, and producers. Engagement, we have to look at the issue of engagement and then encourage established businesses in this sector to train startups as well, okay? Why? Because tourism is an export business. It supports local services, local businesses. It improves the quality of a place. Okay, and we talk about additional retail services, etc. That's all the background stuff. But you know, the word is Nigeria, and so it's important to change perceptions. You can't sell Nigeria until we change the perceptions. So I decided to show you some statistics. Okay, this is theft per 1,000 people in the world. At the very bottom of that chart, barely above zero, is Nigeria. The rising one is France. The US is in decline, but look at the multiples. Yet when we talk about robbery, we say Nigeria is #1 in robbery. This is information from the Global Economy's UN Office on Drugs and Crime. It is not my data. So we cannot use the excuse or sell to the market that theft is an issue why tourists cannot come to Nigeria. Okay, and then I look at other markets as well in terms of numbers. Cameroon, South Africa, and Egypt, these are also tourist destinations, way, way off the chart with respect to Nigeria. Then we look at robbery. Look at Nigeria again. Way, 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 way down there. 200 million, the most populous Black country in the world. So we can't hide behind, nobody can hide behind the fact that our population is low. We have a huge population, but per capita, we are not a major robbery destination. As you see the pictures of, say, Brazil, we all see those images, but we transpose those images on Nigeria and say, that's Nigeria. It is not. You have to sell this message that Nigeria is a safe place for tourists, okay? Then look at kidnappings. Look at France and look at Nigeria. Same UN office data. This is information gathered from all over the world. So there are not as many, so you say Nigeria, you say kidnapping. It's not synonymous. That's not the reality. That's what I talk about changes, okay? So having given you this picture, I was asked to talk about opportunities in air transport, tourism, and hospitality. And I said, I don't even need to begin to tell you because the opportunities are endless, absolutely endless. I start with aviation. I went recently to, not recently, I went a few years back to a funeral in Calabar, and I checked into my hotel. And the next morning I went out and I asked the taxi to take me to Obudu, and he laughed at me. I said, no, you don't just show up and say you want to go to Obudu. You need to make advance arrangements. Those kinds of challenges are indeed opportunities. And so when we look at it, why can't we, as investors, look into the aviation sector, like Dr. Raphael said earlier? You know, it's a myth, and I want to tell you this as a OPA. You don't have to spend $1 billion to buy an airplane. For 5 million naira, you can buy an airplane and fly people from Calabar to Obudu. 5 million, the cost of a car, okay? Of course, if you want to carry a lot more people, you can spend 50 million, which is still below the quarter of the cost of a proper G-Wagon, okay? And then if you look at the general tourism space, so many things, meet and greet, opportunities at the airport, ecotourism, you know, so much nature, so much beauty in Nigeria to show the world without these fake stories about robbery and kidnapping, etc. Okay? And then as an individual, you have your local experience to share, you know, just posting pictures even on Google Maps with beautiful stories and attracting people to you is an opportunity, okay? We have what is called leisure travel, leisure on business. Okay, so most people will come for business and they're stuck in their hotel rooms and they don't know that there's so much to see in Lagos or Calabar or Abuja or Port Harcourt. That's an opportunity. And then there's the web and virtual reality experience. You know, today we're not having this conference at a location, we're doing it on Zoom. And that tells you that we've discovered another opportunity. Okay, so we can create virtual reality experiences and benefit economically from that showcasing. And then, you know, if you see something online and it is really wonderful, there's no question that you would make the effort to come visit and see it. Nigeria still has plenty of land. There's opportunity for health and organic foods development. That's also tourism, to bring people to experience a variety of foods in our economy. There's cultural tourism, food tourism. You know, the big food shows in Dubai that people come from all over the world. These are things and models we can replicate. There's the spa and wellness industry. You can do it in Lagos. You can do it in the most rural community. That's also an opportunity. And of course, you know, we talk about tourism very often, or rarely do I hear people speak about religious tourism. There are more religious tourists in Nigeria than anywhere in the world. Think about it. The most of the Pentecostal churches in the world have Nigerian origins. Imagine if you brought the global membership once or twice a year to participate in religious activities and offset by that spend $43 a person or $97. The economic multiplier to that effort is unimaginable. Okay, and then in the hospitality area, which is in one of the boards I serve on, hotel rooms are look, there's so much great opportunity, and Dr. Architect Raphael spoke on that as well, you understand? Then, of course, there's receive and guide. So I say they are endless. If I start to list them, I cannot even begin to list the opportunities available for all types of investors, from the smallest to the largest, okay? And we talk about that. Thank you very much. That was all I wanted.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Your passion shows through. That's I know you could talk for hours on end.
Yes, I have
a lot of people have questions for you.
Thank you.
And for me, there's something you said that for $5 million, somebody can even get an aircraft.
No, I said 5 million naira, not $5 million. 5
I
million.
needed to say that so that you can correct me, because somebody asked me, isn't that $5 million? So I said, I will put it to him, let him say it again.
That's fine.
Okay, so sir, thank you for a very wonderful presentation.
Thank you very much.
What you said, you summarized it all. That we have the opportunities, we have the traveling public, we have the population, we are blessed. Why are we not getting it right? I see Hassan Zachary, your hands are up. I'll give you the floor in a minute. But I also wanted to let people know, the only reason tourism is playing second fiddle in Nigeria, everybody will say enabling environment. I agree. But I will also say that we, the tourism practitioners, have not fought our battle. When Nollywood started, they didn't have enabling environment. You see, our government followed the money. Businessmen followed the money. Today, go to BOI. They have creative industry fund. Do you know where tourism is? We are hidden under creative sector. But it should be tourism. The creative sector will be under. Anyway, let me give the floor to Mr. Hassan Zachary. I saw your hand up in a while. Could you guys please unmute him? Hassan Zachary, if or you unmute yourself. If not, I think Mr. Isaac has something to say as well.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Alex.
You need to unmute yourself. Okay, okay.
No, you're still muted.
Okay, you can hear me now.
Okay, yes, I can hear you now.
All right. Thank you very much for that incisive presentation, Mr. Alex. But it's obvious now that perception is everything. Just like you rightly said, you have countries that are more criminally based than Nigeria. But then this is the reason Goge Africa started, to paint a different picture, to launder Nigeria's image so that tourism could thrive in Nigeria. But be that as it may, I'm sure that with this presentation you have made, a lot of things will change. And by the time we leave here today, I'm sure we'll have found enough ground to collaborate and actually change our attitude towards our country, Nigeria. So questions are still coming in. I would like to give you an opportunity to answer some of the questions that are coming in from other panelists and viewers from outside.
Okay, Hassan
Zachary is on. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues in the industry and beyond. I was actually clapping for Mr. Alec, not really raising my hand.
Okay. Oh, okay. But then that's fine.
In the opportunity, I will just like to say that I am very pleased to be here and to witness this this presentation. I would like Mr. Alex to kindly share this presentation with us, because it's very, very good to put up our marketing materials together. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. He has promised to share it with us, and we'll make sure every single person that is registered will get this in their email. Okay. Okay. Any more questions for him? Well, I personally have a question for Mr. Alex. In investing in Nigeria. We tour operators, tourism practitioners, we are in a hurry to have our sites developed. Do you have an advice? What should we do? Because if those places are not developed, we can work with a few state governments that have a few places ready for now. But even the places that are ready needs to be brought up to standard. Is there anything that tourism practitioners should do beyond calling people together like this? To get action, we need action. Every day Nigerians buy houses in Dubai, in Maldives. Why can't they bring out just a fraction of that money? Go and take care of the hanging lake in Oyo State, or the caves in the east, or the Kano Dye pits. There's a way they can make it better. It becomes even more attractive. Sir, any advice?
Thank you. It goes back to the point I made about collaboration. As you have an industry, tourism industry, and the participants in the industry seem to be playing this my own, as opposed to looking at it holistically. If we established a tourism fund which paid dividends to investors, and you sold into that tourism fund the opportunity for people to invest, and the proceeds were used to develop a number of sites. I remember a number of years I went to Ekiti State to see what we could do about the waterfalls. I went there, what a beautiful place. The swimming pool was not really in the greatest of conditions, but it was beautiful. I mean, hold on, it's just rock coming out of, it's water coming out of the rock, but it is hot water and cold water. But there's so much more that could be done around that to attract tourists, because people come there. The water has some story. There's some stories about the source of the origin of the water and things like that. So if there was this tourism fund as an industry, and everybody got together and raised 1 billion naira or 2 billion naira or $1 billion locally, internationally, then those funds could be channeled to developing those particular activities. But one thing I must caution, I was recently also, as I tell you, I don't talk about things from pages of books. I'm the kind of person that has driven from Lagos to Conakry, simply because I wanted to visit every country along the way. I've traveled across all of Nigeria by road. I can go by air, simply because I wanted to visit. I hear of a place, I go to it. I worked, for example, with Bayelsa State on an economic development plan that wasn't just about tourism, but the entire economy. And one of the things I said, you know, we all get up from here and we travel to Dubai to shop at shops that we can attract to Nigeria and establish so that everybody else in Africa or West Africa comes here to shop. You don't create, I'm working at a project called the Osun State Tourism Airport in Ila. I'm a consultant on the airport project in there, and it's basically done to create a hub. We talk about Osun State as being the heart of Yoruba land, but how do you access that heart? That is a challenge. So the idea is to create this tourism airport, but then the airport is never alone. Osun Grove is never by itself enough. You have to develop enough activities that somebody coming to Osun Grove is engaged for 2 to 3 days, because that's where the revenue is from the hotels, from the town, from food, from beverage, from everything else. And that's never going to be achieved by one individual doing his best to put up one hotel or put up one attraction or do that. But rather, the establishment of this tourism fund can be channeled to develop region by region, opportunity by opportunity enhancements that make them viable to attract, to retain high spending tourists who come there, spend a number of days, spend money, and support the industry as we did talk about it.
All right, thank you, sir. Well, let me just take this opportunity to recognize the fact that there are some state governments here who have joined us. We have Akwa Ibom State, ably represented by the Honorable Commissioner of Information and Strategy, Mr. Charles Udo. We also have the Special Advisor to the Governor on entrepreneurial development, corporate marketing and brand management, Meflin Anwana, yeah, right. And we have Anambra State, represented by Mr. Tony One-Week Monago. Lagos State, he is actually the special advisor to the governor on tourism and entertainment. We have Lagos State, ably represented by Mr. Solomon Bonu. He's also the special advisor to the governor on tourism and entertainment. Imo State is represented by Barrister Dorothy. She's, I think she's the commissioner for tourism in Imo State. I hope I'm right there, madam. We would have given everybody time to show your faces. If you can, please, my dear, you can unmute them and they can say hello. But we're also going on to let you know that the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture is actually very keen in what we are all doing. A few weeks back, I think my colleague in the industry, Efe, I think Efe is here as well, ended his 7th series just on the same matter, still on domestic matter, domestic tourism development matter. So it's very close to our hearts, and this is what is really dear to the heart of tourism entrepreneurs. We're also employers of labor. Each one of us have got at least a minimum of 5 people working for us. I do not see why we cannot drive government to do something and also put in our own bit for things to work. So the minister has sent in the director of domestic tourism, and I also have another person, Hajia Sodangi, with her. They have also logged in. They are going to give a report back to the minister of our deliberations today. And I think that is very important because that's where the fight starts. For me, I call it a fight for tourism, domestic tourism in Nigeria to really get what it deserves. Okay.
I think I can just add to what you just said.
Yes.
Based on what you just said, I talked mainly of the private sector. From the point of view of Imo State, if you look at the geography of the southeast of Nigeria, Imo is basically equidistant to all of the states. And so Imo State as a state can look at an aggregation strategy where you come to Imo, you have a fantastic airport, and you have they have a large number of hotels. They can develop the hotel sector as well. And from that basis, they can provide tours to all of the southeast and south-south region of the country. Akwa Ibom has great...
So, but when you, sorry to cut you.
Yes.
When you say they can develop the place, who are they? Is it the government?
The government has a key role to create the enabling environment in participation with the private sector. Private sector is more and more efficient at delivering on the value of enterprise, but the government needs to create incentives such as taxation, benefits, infrastructure development. The private sector will have a tough time developing many of these tourist sites, but if the state sees the benefits and the revenues and the numbers that can come into that state as a result. I use Imo as an example. If you're a gateway, everybody passes through you. How many do you capture in that sieve that is passing through in terms of opportunity and going through to other markets? How do you engage them in that point? And that is why it is important for other states, like I said to Osun and Ekiti, that if everybody comes into Lagos and they get arrested in Lagos, they never get to see the beauty of what is in Osun and what is in Ekiti and all of those places. So sometimes I hear people say, oh, we don't need airports. You need airports, but the problem is that you don't need these huge Murtala Mohammed International type airports. A sod field, simple grass. There are many grass airports in Ghana that are last mile to multiple destinations and many tourist sites. So there's a lot that can be done in collaboration between the government and private sector. The private sector cannot go it alone because it cannot go it alone. It needs
capital intensive.
The government must be also driving this, understanding the economic benefits, job creation opportunities, etc. Starting from the federal level in terms of the Nigerian image, which I just showed you, is not what we perceive it to be, down to state levels, and then down to villages and communities.
We totally agree with you. What we have also done with these conferences, next week, the president of the Lagos State Chamber of Commerce will be here. We'll also have BOI, I think BOI or Exim Bank, one of them. And then Akwa Ibom state government is taking the lead because they're making a presentation next week too about what they have and the incentives to any investor that is coming into the state. So I think things are changing. So the governments are listening. If you think the federal is not listening, if the state listens, it's all the same thing. They are all governments. So my co-moderator would want to let us know who will be speaking next. Probably is, I think, Mr. Deshina, right? From, yes, from Sterling Bank. It's a good time to call him up because we're talking about investment. Sterling Bank is telling us that they're willing to work with us. Let me sound this. We're not asking you to dash us money. We just want to show you where the money is yourself, so you can invest and get your return on investment. We understand that all the monies in your hands are our monies, not yours. So the industry is really willing to collaborate with Sterling Bank, but let's hear you so my colleagues can decide for us.
Okay, thank you for this privilege and this opportunity. Like I said in the introduction, that we are here to learn. Let me give you a little bit of background about financial institutions. Most of financial institutions in Nigeria, we made a lot of mistakes and error by taking money to sectors that we don't know. And because we don't have knowledge of those sectors, we just take funding to those sectors, we get our fingers burnt. A major sector where we have burnt our finger, specifically oil and gas. We don't have good knowledge of that sector. We pump money into it and we lost money. However, Sterling Bank is taking a different approach, speaking to specifically Nigerian economy. And it stems from what we call the art of sterling, which speaks to key sectors of the economy that we strongly believe are growth sector, are sectors that will create employment, are sectors also that will help economy to grow. These sectors are in the acronym that we call heart of sterling. And the last T in the heart is a square, that's double T. We have health, education, agriculture, renewable energy, transport, technology, and tourism. This speaks to the key sectors of the economy. And why tourism? Why collaboration? It is so clear. The presentation, the slides provided clearly states all the problems and the opportunity. But I want to leave us with 4 major things that I want us to go and action on. I just don't want this to be a talk show. I want us to live here,
thank you,
have takeaways, tick boxes. This is to do. And these are the 4 to-dos I want to leave with each and every one of us. The first one, I must commend Dr. Alexander Waba. Excellent presentation. The first one, we need to go and work on branding and communication. How do we repackage the brand called Nigeria? How do we repackage our different tourist attractions? How do we repackage it? How do we rebrand it? Because branding is everything. Perception is everything. Look at data. He has shown us data to prove that Nigeria is a safe place. Nigeria is a good place to visit. However, the perception, the branding, the projection of Nigerians by non-Nigerians and even some Nigerians has clearly shown that Nigeria is not the best place to visit. So the first thing, assignment I want to give to each and every one of us, and I want to encourage Gogi Africa to set up a team that will work on repackaging and rebranding Nigeria. Forget about the federal government. How can we, in private sector, come together and repackage this country called Nigeria, change the narration, change the speak, then we can encourage one another to do both domestic tourism and also international tourism. That's my first to do. Let's go and execute. Let's have a timeline to deliver this particular project. That's my first assignment for each and every one of us. The second thing I want us to leave behind, that I want us to go and work on, subsector of branding, which speaks to web and virtual reality. In this day and age, the population demography has shown that we have high youth population. And where is their native land? They are digital natives. How do we go on to repackage Nigeria in the digital space. We need to have a subgroup of young-minded Nigerians that will repackage Nigeria in that space. Let's give ourselves an assignment. What is that new thing, positive thing you want to project about Nigeria on the digital space? Can we give ourselves this assignment such that once a week, project one positive thing about Nigeria, great Nigerian experience on the web? As many that have not visited Nigeria before, the first point of visit to Nigeria is on the WW, the World Wide Web. From Instagram to Facebook to all of that. What are we projecting in that place? Second assignment, we need to reposition, repackage the narrative such that we project Nigeria positively on the virtual space. The third assignment or to-dos I want to give to each and one of us is deliberate collaboration. I use that word intentionally. Deliberate collaboration. How do you set a small group? Let's start with the low-hanging fruits. For example, food experience. 2, cultural experience. It has shown, little research that we have done, we are not even proud of projecting our culture, our own native fatherland culture and heritage. How can we deliberately reposition this, that Nigeria, we believe in Nigeria heritage and culture? These are the 3 major things I want to leave behind. And finally, for we to sell tourism, especially to the sub-sovereigns, which are the states and local government. Today, most states and local government are crying for IGR, internal generated revenue. Simple projection. Tell any state in Nigeria that, look, you don't need to spend money. These are the possibility of you generating this revenue. Allow we that we have agreed to collaborate as private sector players to do A, B, C, D. In the 3rd year, 4th year, or 2nd year, this is kind of revenue you generate. Between you and I, clearly from our experience, state government will be willing to collaborate with you. Is this what you want? Give you an enabling environment, and this is the kind of return I expect in the next 2-3 years in terms of employment, in terms of internal generated revenue, in terms of look and feel. Believe you me, state government will be open to collaborate with us. That's all the summary of the to-dos. I just don't want this to be a talk show. I want us to leave this place and go and execute. And we in Sterling Bank, we are totally aligned, working with the tourism sector to project Nigeria positively, to create employment, to increase internal generated revenue for our dear country, Nigeria. Thank you for this privilege. We are open to collaboration and we are open to support the sector. And to drop a key information from our management already, we have an approved 5 billion in Naira to lend to this sector, to help the sector grow, already approved. Historically, we don't understand the sector. We shy away from this sector, but from our interaction with Bode Africa and other key players in the sector, we have a better understanding of the sector, and our management has given us support. That's one. Number 2, which Bode Africa is aware of, we are building a platform that's going to bring all participants in the sector together so that we can collaborate more, we can share knowledge, share information, and further project the image of the sector. Thank you for having me. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm open to questions.
Well, thank you so much. Hello. Hello. Adeoye. Adeoye Oju, co-founder of Work and Play. My IT guys, please unmute him. Let's hear the question he has asked. And who else has questions to ask? Well, while we're trying to unmute him, he said so much. I mean, Sterling Bank said so much. I'll start by saying thank you. Thank you. Now, it's clear to... Okay, are you here? You found him? Okay.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, it's been a very beautiful time out, and I must appreciate the efforts, the Uncle Shina, Uncle Moses, and all of that. You know, I've actually been on the field for some time, learning from people like you, and I want to tell you that from the little experience I can tell that most state government lack of sincerity plays a vital role. I recall we've actually had to do a lot, even trying to get the facility in Ekiti under a private management, and we even got a team of investors, but the government actually made a mess out of it. But those ones are history. Going forward, like I do more of a private corporate events. So if you do corporate event, we infuse it with some touch of tourism. For instance, if Sterling Bank is coming to Ibadan or they are going to Ekiti, after their 2-3 days in the classroom, they should at least visit those tourist destinations. I think it starts from those areas. You can't just leave Lagos and come to Ibadan without going to eat amala somewhere, and you say you have come to Ibadan. You know, you cannot do some of all these things and go to those locations. So we try in our own little space to try to infuse tourism into corporate experiences. So when they go back home with those stories. But when it comes to the issue of maybe government support, it's obvious that federal government don't have most facilities. The most facilities are resident with the state government. Federal government don't own attraction sites, they don't own tourist sites, they don't own so many of all these sites. So the buckle stops with on the table of the governors. I can tell you for a fact that I've actually been doing a little thing off the official level with Sterling Bank, just trying to even seek consent, get ideas, do some of all this thing. But the way, the sincerity of our government to even give you consent, you will go to them with proposals, beautiful proposals, tourism related. They'll tell you go and bring the money. How many people have 5 million naira or 20 million naira locked up in their drawer that they can just bring out? So I think the perception needs to change, orientation needs to change. You cannot leave Lagos and come to a place like Ekiti and be asking for scrambled eggs. You know, we need to really understand that this is our own game. As little as eat the food of the people is a tourism measure. You cannot do, I think that's the low-hanging fruit as spoken in this experience. And I think with the readiness, with the approval in place, there are so many things that can happen. Sometimes in January this year, I took a team of people to a particular location. I nearly had to go back to the board to defend myself. So the quality of our facilities really needs to change. Quality, you cannot bring corporate bodies, take them to a location, maybe in a place like Oshun, and at the end of the day, there will be no generator all through. All of them will sleep outside in the heat. So the infrastructures, the problems are Hydra, but I think going forward, we're looking solution prone, and I think with the support of a bank like Sterling Bank, we should be able to at least get to the basics. Let the government know that this thing is for the people. Like if I want to sell Ekiti, for instance, I tell Ekiti is a land that if you sleep one night, you have added 1 year to your lifespan. Because the vegetation is there.
True, Mr.
You know, so many of all these things are there. So the narratives are there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Did we lose him?
I guess there's a technical issue. Okay, thank you, Mr. Kunle. I'd like to ask Shino from Sterling Bank this particular question, which I'm sure that a lot of people listening in on this conference would also like to know. What are the conditions for accessing the 5 billion naira that's already approved by Sterling Bank?
For tourism.
For tourism, yes.
Okay. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah. Yes, I can hear you.
Beautiful. Now, because tourism is one of the sectors that we are interested in, we will be at streets as we are with other sectors that we are not interested in. Like I said, there's what we call the art of selling. Anything that gets to do with health, education, agriculture, renewable energy, transport, technology, tourism, we have a kind of a soft landing for those sectors. We are open and we are ready to work with sector experts to redefine conditions. One, that will not hurt the bank. Two, that will encourage players to participate. We have this top-level strategic approval. However, we are going to sit with industry players and say, these are the general conditions. Which one do you think will not work for your sector? Then we'll tell you in banking, how can we work together? If, for example, I can't tell you to go and bring the death certificate of your great-grandfather, I can't say, give me land, which you don't have, but I can tell you what other options can we work around. It might be intellectual property. I don't know, but we, in terms of collaboration, we work around those conditions that will work for the sector players and also work for the bank. So it's an answer that we all will put together that will suit all players in the sector. We did the same thing with agriculture. Agriculture, we came up with anchor borrowers, whereby the major company borrow the money. However, there are other peasant farmers that we loan the money to, but there is a model that take those products, who create that product, and it was a win-win situation. So now we have a strategic board approval for this sector. We, and when I say we, I mean partners in this sector, we now say this is the bank condition. How do we rework it to suit the sector? So it's a work that we both are going to do together and define together. So it's not for me to answer, it's for us to answer those conditions. And we have 3 weeks to do that work together, to answer and to put the condition together. Then we can go all around to share this with players in the sector.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Are we having any more? Okay, I think from this point, it would be, I think it's a good time to bring in MTN. On the chat room, in the chat room, you would see his short profile there, just for you to know who he is at MTN. But he will introduce himself properly by the time he comes on right now. So are you ready?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Oh, okay.
Oh, yes, I can hear you from this end.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'm also trying to share a slide. Can you see it?
Okay.
Can you see the slide? One beautiful woman with those marks. Can you see my slide?
Not yet from my point.
IT, please put up his slide. I need to see.
Okay, it can be shared from that end as well.
Okay. So let's take it from you. They will share your screen.
That's fine.
Okay, are we good?
Can you see it now?
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Okay, good. So I just shared from my end. Yes. All right. So very quickly, I have 10 minutes. My name is Kunle Adebi. I work for MTN Nigeria, and I want to thank the GoGate team for the opportunity. I think it's bigger than just coming in here to present. I think the fact that we are also learning, and we can also now think about future investments in this industry is something that is worthy of cheer. So thank you so much, and I'm also grateful that you're not sending me a bill for the lessons that we're learning today. So, I mean, corporate partnerships to boost tourism in Nigeria is what I've been asked to speak on. And I have just like 2-3 slides. So I think there are reasons why corporate organizations should really support tourism for economic development. We've heard stories around why government cannot do it alone. And government not doing it alone is across all the facets of our life. Roads, government cannot do it alone. Water, government cannot do it alone. And I think it's high time the private organizations rose up to support. There's the part that is CSR, and there is the part that is also profit. you can get into tourism as a corporate organization with the intention of doing a CSR, but you even end up making more profit than the intention that you had at the beginning. So the first thing is we commenced as a company, MTN, partnering with communities to promote their cultural festivals since 2010. And I think the intention then was to actually connect with the passion point of people of these communities. And why did we go into it? We wanted to create partnerships at the grassroots. And of course, the intention was also to drive brand presence and awareness across the nooks and crannies of Nigeria. As we speak today, we support up to 65 festivals annually across the length and breadth of Nigeria. So we sponsor Osun Osogbo, we participate in Ojude Oba, we do Orona Festival, Etioni Festival, Salad Doba, various Dobas across the northern cities. We do Lepoku Festival. We also participate in Calabar Carnival, Iguaro, Enugu Uku, various Ofala festivals across the east, the Kokona Festival, the Gembu Mambila Festival, just to mention a few. Okay, so what are the benefits? I mean, each of these communities, when we go into those communities, you see increased activities, you see a lot of revenue generation. I mean, that has been alluded to, because when you have influx of people that are coming from all the parts of the world into an environment, they have to eat, they have to be accommodated, they have to travel. So you see that the local businesses that they do in this environment also now immediately starts to witness a boom. And this is some part of the things that are the benefits to the communities. So the right exposures, I know some communities as well also who will, during these cultural festivals, which we have named as Culture Fest, will do fundraising activities to fix the Oba's Palace or the King's abode or stuff like that, or to build a school. So it's an opportunity for people to actually gather and for economic activities to witness an immediate growth. I decided to add this red line, send WhatsApp request to 0702 500 0040 for your 4G upgrade, HiNet Flex, and MiFi devices, because you see, I'm a salesman and it's always difficult for me to do this kind of thing without actually selling something. We will deliver to you. And if you listen to Mr. Alex Onguba, he actually mentioned that he's grateful that MTN gave him the kind of internet that works. So all through his presentation, I'm sure you also saw that there was not a time that there was any interruptions. Now, what are the benefits to the corporate organizations? And of course, now I'm just going to zoom in onto MTN. What have we benefited as an organization, as MTN, that can encourage other corporates to put their resources behind it? It was through the MTN Cultural Festivals, this Culture Fest, that the platform that we discovered new towns for network rollout. So the Argungu, the fishing festivals that we have, Aruchuku, the Gembu Festival, Umunochi, the Ugep in the Akologe government area, where in Cross River State, which happens to be the biggest yam market, with a footfall of about 45,000 people from across eastern Nigeria. It was during activities around sponsoring and supporting these cultural festivals that we discovered a lot of these towns where we today now have network. And of course, if you have network in a place where foot traffic is quite high, it also translates to profit. So it pays to actually put your money behind it. Second thing for us is that it made MTN the curator of Nigeria's rich cultural heritage, for many years. So 85% of the festivals that we participate in now are now listed on by UNESCO as global cultural tourist centers. And of course, where I come from, Ilaro in Ogun State, the Orona Festival became a part of the global, gained global recognition through the sponsorship and partnership of MTN as well. So at the Abuja International Carnival in 2017, MTN actually won an award. We were recognized for this investment. And the award was for safeguarding of intangible cultural heritage of humanity. So that's also one benefit. And more importantly, today, Goge Africa, they've asked me to come and speak to players in this industry. You may not be aware that Goge Africa did a documentary on MTN cultural festivals, all these cultural fests, which was viewed by 1.2 million people. This was as far back as 2019. It was also, aired on satellite TV to over 10 million people globally. It's a benefit because while we were doing that and Goge was, taking us along and showcasing MTN, a lot of people also will know your industry, and of course, it's true that they will always come to. So basically, it's actually more profitable to invest, even to the organization that is investing than most times than the community that you are even supporting, even though they are economically, they also witness a boom. So if you see a collage of pictures that you have here, these are cultural festivals. You see, it's beautiful, really. It's the first one, I think, is Shoshobo, and various other one, the Berom festivals, and so on and so forth. It's massive. And of course, if you look at some of the pictures, the last two on the right, at the top and at the bottom, you see that chrome, that MTN yellow, beautiful sunlight color that's also at the background, showing that yes, we're present here and we support cultural festivals and of course tourism by that implication. So that's the two slides that I have to showcase the benefit for the organizations, for corporates, and of course to encourage corporates to invest in tourism, and of course let's grow Nigeria together. I don't think we really need to wait for all the packaging and repackaging of names. We can start now, because when we participate, if you see these beautiful pictures here, when you start participating, it starts to improve. And of course, we've done Orona Festival for about 8 years now, non-stop. And year in, year out, you now find people coming to Nigeria for the purposes of just attending Orona Festival. You can imagine, if that is happening at Orona, you can imagine the number of people that will be coming in from all over the world just to participate in Osun Shogbo or Ojideoba festivals. Thank you so very much. Those are the few things that I've got. I will now take questions if there are questions. Thank you. Hello, can anyone hear me?
Hello, sir, we can hear you.
Okay, I'm done with my presentation.
It's Isaac, sir. Can you take over, sir?
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Kunle. It's your presentation has been quite incisive, and I can see lots of commendations coming from different people listening in on this. But one question I would love to pose to you, even though I'm part of it, I know how it works. The community should support so many, because we work with you, we know what gives. A lot of communities are on our case to get you in on their festivals, and just for the benefit of people listening outside, what are the conditions? What do you look out for before you decide to support a particular festival? Hello.
Very good question. Yes, I can hear you. I don't know if you can hear me. Very
yes,
good question. When we started sponsoring about 10 years ago or 12 years ago, I think it would have been maybe like 3-4 prominent festivals. And I did say that, and we do an average of 65 as we speak. Wow. The 65 today are repetitive. It's only this year now because of COVID-19 that I'm not sure, because gatherings are not going to be too much supported. We don't know what's going to happen towards the end of the year. If things change, we'll go back to it. So we do up to 65. The list keeps growing. We are open to every and all festivals, as long as we have budgetary provisions to cover. So what actually determines where we go to is the amount of resources that we have for that year. So because the ones that I've listed have to be sponsored every year, we can't drop them. We usually don't drop because they now have recognized the partnership. We keep on motivating as well to see how much more resources we can get from MTN to put into it. So what basically determines is first come, first served. So if we have the 65 now and we have 5 new letters come to us, we based on the inflow of the requests and just oppose that with resources that are available. Then we keep on expanding. Maybe in the next 2 years, we are going to be sponsoring 150. Maybe it's going to be 200. I don't know. But it's usually determined by the amount of resources that we have available.
All right. Okay. I think that's been that answers it. So, and I'm sure the communities around Nigeria are going to be prepping up their festivals to attract MTN support. Thank you. You guys have been doing so well. You've done so well in the cultural landscape, and we're really grateful to have you as a partner.
Thank you.
So, sorry, so we have some people's hands raised.
I think we're taking some questions now, at least 4 or 5 questions. There's so many questions that are like backlog, if you ask me. So first of all, there's Catherine. There's I think 4 or 5 other people. But
Bidemi, Hima, and
Bidemi. Okay, but if you let me crave your indulgence. The representative of the Minister of Information and Culture, that's the Domestic Tourism Director, or the Director of Domestic Tourism. So we would like you to unmute her. She's Mrs. Narai, Patricia Narai, Mrs. Patricia Narai. You will unmute her. Let's hear from her, please. And after her, we'll go on to Catherine and about 2 or 3 others. Hello. Hello, madam. Hello, madam. I think Mr. Kunle's screen is still on. Okay, yeah. So,
although I also have a question for Mr. Alex.
well, yeah, we have, okay, while we wait, there's a guy that had wanted to ask, okay, let's have Catherine. Let's have Catherine right away. While we wait for Mrs. Narai, Patricia Narai. Is she up now? Okay. Hello, madam, you're welcome to this conference. Hello. We've unmuted you.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, very well, thank you, ma'am.
Okay, my name is Catherine Asapoha-Otalo. I live in North Carolina, USA. And every speaker has done very well. And thank you, Goge Africa, for bringing this. My question that I have is for the president of the airline one. Sorry, I have a lot of notes. My question is, did you say 5 million naira will like rent an airplane, or are you saying it will buy an airplane? Because we have a lot of retired pilots that actually live in the United States that definitely, if given the opportunity, they would like to come to Nigeria and participate in whatever you have on ground for them that can help them. That one is for, I'm you, sir, Alexander Unwaba. So that's my first question. Do I ask all the questions and they answer, or you want me to like?
Maybe one more question so we can give the floor to somebody else.
Okay. So the other question is for MTN. with MTN, I want to know, what are you doing when it comes to data costs? Because I am here, I recharge data for my siblings back home. And when I compare it to other countries based on what the information we have, based on the data we have, Nigeria is one of the most expensive countries when it comes to using cellular phone. What are you doing? How are you using that to partner with the tourism industry to bring down that cost and also help support us that are carrying most of the burden? Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I didn't intend to go too much into MTN question and answers, but of course, since I'm wearing the shirt, I might just now try to answer that. I think what I've just introduced now, there are two questions now. First of all is, what do we do with the tourism industry? How do we, what do we give to people that are visiting Nigeria? And MTN, we have just introduced what I would call the Visitors Team now into the industry. It's pretty new. So when the airports open and anyone visits Nigeria for tourism or for business, you will be able to pick up an MTN Visitors Team at the airport with the appropriate costumes that are appropriate for people that are going to do short stay in Nigeria. They're not going to live here. I won't say much more than that for now, because like I said, we're just going to launch when the airports open. Now, on the general costing, I mean, it's always difficult for us in Nigeria to draw parallels between costing in Nigeria and the costing in the developed countries. So if you look at everything in Nigeria, for example, I mean, the government is doing a lot. The government is doing so much. I mean, the federal government of Nigeria is, I mean, kudos to them. A lot of work is being done to ensure that we have infrastructure and everything. But most of the costs today, why I don't think it's going to be quick for costs to go down, is that most of the costs goes into powering the sites that are carrying the traffic. If you have to pay for diesel and so many other costs like that, I think what is driving the pricing of data is the cost. But more importantly, between the regulator and the mobile network operators in Nigeria, there are continuous conversations that are going on. The more ease we have around making lives better for Nigerians that the federal government is working on, the earlier it will be for us to also to continue to appropriately price. But I think what our attention should be focused on is what Mr. Woba said at the beginning, because to guarantee that quality that will ensure that we have this kind of session without interruptions, you actually need a lot of investment. And I think that is the area where we need to concentrate on. I encourage you, because you are outside Nigeria, to also maybe download the MTN app if you ever have our number, because if you do that, you can also now be able to buy hot deals, which will be a lot more pocket friendly from my MTN app. And that can also be done by people that are by Nigerians, because from that app, you can actually make a purchase, using your debit cards of across anywhere in the world, and that will be a lot more beneficial. That, in short, is there will be other forum where we can actually do in-depth conversations around pricing and so on and so forth. I hope I've been able to respond appropriately. Thank you.
Please, shall we have the director of domestic tourism? Kindly unmute her. Hello. Okay, while we are at that, let me quickly recognize the presence of some Nollywood bigwigs. That's what I call them. They're practitioners and they are the top, one of the top ones in the industry. The the president of Actors Guild of Nigeria, Mr. Chukwemeka Rolas, is here with us. They'll be making their own presentation at a later date because we need Nollywood to support the fight. It's a movement to get tourism working in Nigeria. Nollywood divas go and, or Nollywood greats go all over the world to help promote their destination, and Nigerians will start going there. Look at what is happening in Dubai. So Emeka Rolas, Ego Boyo, Mildred Oko, I see you, and there's so many of you here. But my main person, Mr. Chidi Mokeme, who also helped us put this together secretly, we see you too. And I like to, please let me know once the director is ready and if she has unmuted herself, but let me also recognize, she has? Please, madam, you need to unmute yourself. The reason we can't hear you is because you have not unmuted yourself. Kindly unmute yourself.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Finally!
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry, we have technical problems here. I appreciate this initiative and I'm glad to be part of it. As I've been introduced, my name is Patricia Nare, just recently promoted Director of Domestic Tourism. And I think I'm coming at the right time in this COVID-19 pandemic that is making domestic tourism be on the limelight. But I want to speak as per my little understanding concerning the federal government standpoint. We see tourism as not a standalone industry. Are you getting me? Tourism is not a standalone industry because it comprises other sectors like transport, entertainment, food, and we've all mentioned them. So, but if there is a ministerial, good working relationship, the transport, the aviation, the water resources, the power, the works and housing, so that this problem of infrastructural facilities can be improved and developed, I think domestic tourism will grow. Another thing I also want to say is that we need to work on our security so that tourism can strive. Though we know there are countries that are worse than us and they're making it in tourism. Another problem that the ministry faces is budgetary constraints. And I can get from the bank people, they are willing to invest. And I'm thinking that if individuals, such as the Dangotes and the others, can invest in tourism, just as they are doing in agriculture, they are doing in other and petroleum sector, if they can come together and other organizations, I'm sure that this infrastructural facility problem that we have will be minimized and tourism can grow. I want to give an example. I'm a daughter of FCT. I was born here in the 60s. Abuja was, people say, let me use the raw word, bush. But with a collaborative effort of the government and the private sector, in just within a span of 20 years, let me put it like that, Abuja City is reckoned with in the whole world. So we need to collaborate. The government need to do their own. And just as we have said, these attractions, they are located in local governments, they are located in states. The federal government do not have the sole power to those sites and attractions. So if the states as well, other ministers as well can collaborate with us and the private sector, I think domestic tourism has come to stay. There was a suggestion that the private sector could repackage Nigeria. I know that in the ministry we had Fascinating Nigeria. That could be a starting point for the private people to improve on it and see how tourism can be rebranded and the private sector can take charge of developing and promoting tourism in Nigeria. That's my little contribution, and sorry, our offices are closed since 2 o'clock, but we were able to convince them to stay till this time. I hope my little contribution has made sense, and if there's any question, maybe before we leave, you can ask me, and we are open in domestic tourism department to work with the private sector, and the minister has asked us to give this report to him. So even if we don't stay to the end, we will request that whatever recommendation that we have here, we will forward it to the authority. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. We are very happy that you are here to represent the ministry. That shows that we are not alone in this fight.
Yes.
So let me quickly, there's wow.
Mr. Alex needs to respond to the question he was asked, remember?
Yes.
Yes, apologies. I dropped off my dongle froze for a minute. Sometimes we have these numbers in our heads that it's difficult to determine where the source of the information is. The word I used was 5 million naira. It's not $5 million. You can buy a single engine 4-place aircraft in South Africa for $10,000, $15,000. I was actually trying to open an ad so you could see a number of them. And if you get a private pilot's license, you can actually take your friends into all of these fields, and for a lot less, 30 million, 25 million, you can get something more commercial. So naira, I'm not saying dollars. So aviation is not as expensive as we think it is. It's one of the myths that at AOPA we try to demystify it. Flying is for everybody. I fly. People should learn to fly and break boundaries and visit places they've never visited on the weekends and expand their horizons. So yes, the number I used was naira, and I'll put up an ad in the so people can take a look.
Well, Mr. Alex, I'm sure a lot of people are interested in your speech now. Now, tell me something. Does the regulations that apply to other commercial airports, would they apply to these little aircrafts that are sold for 5 million and slightly above that?
Different types of categories in aviation. You have what is called commercial aviation, private aviation, charter, etc. And so anytime you do something for hire, you come under stricter regulations than you do privately. Okay, so stricter regulation doesn't mean significantly more cost. It means a greater degree of supervision. You have to maintain the aircrafts differently if you're using it for commercial use as opposed to the way you would do it for private use. And so the numbers are not astronomically higher. The insurance would surprise you. Insurance you can get for about $1,000 for an aircraft, it's almost the same as a car. Aviation is not what we think it is. It's an opportunity available to everybody. And when we see groups that want to come home and open up markets,
You need only 500 meters of landing space for some of these airplanes. Some 1,000 meters. You don't need 4 kilometers as you would for at Muritala Mohammed International Airport. So if in Akwa Ibom State they want to open it up in some villages, for example, for tourism, then you close off. I remember in my youth, my father lived in Warri, and before the airport you see there was fully developed, it was across a highway. And when the airplane wanted to land, it would fly over the field to signal that it was coming into land, and they would block the both ends of the highway, and the airplane would land and taxi to the building. That was in my youth. Yeah. There's no reason why these things can't continue the way they are. We just seem to have a very different and wrong impression about aviation, which would open up much more of the country.
Wow. So you mean the state governments, most likely state governments, would have to invest in airstrips, right?
Not airstrips, not airports.
Airstrips, right? Okay.
Correct, yes.
Now, two. As a businessman, what kind of incentive do you think the government can give to would-be investors in the tourism sector?
Well, I think the first thing government always does is strip away taxes. Okay, incentivize borrowing. Central bank has been very proactive in providing single-digit loans. It is extremely difficult to invest make a long-term investment that would have a repayment period of 5 to 10 years if the interest rate is 22% per annum. And so from the standpoint of the Bank of Industry, commercial banks as well, commercial banks have a challenge that they get money from the public at a rate that is attractive. So they're getting money anywhere from 7 to 15%, depending on how aggressive they are. They have to mark that money up at a rate higher than inflation, obviously, to make money, because if you make money below the rate of inflation, you're actually losing money. So they have to mark that up above the rate of inflation, which we are managing at the present time. And so you have to look at banking, lowering the rate of borrowing rates and in banking to allow for longer term investment. You can create a pool of funds for the sector-based funds that can go into that. But it's not always about money. It is sometimes about just simply opening up a location and say, when I went to Ekiti State, for example, I said to the state government, hand over the hotels at the stream so that it can be developed for tourism. So somebody can put money into making those places habitable. But more importantly, like I did in some states when I consulted for them on broad economic development, don't just say when you come to Osho State, you will go to Osho Grove. 1 hour, 2 hours, I'm out of there. You know, you can spend some time with the monkeys at the gate, another 20 minutes or so. But that's the end of the experience. We've got to look at how we create multiple experiences that keep people there longer and spend a whole lot more money. So government should lead the charge. Government should identify its tourism potentials, put money behind it, and use it to attract people to the state. If people come, they'll spend money on accommodation, they'll spend money on eating, they experience the state's culture. There's so much opportunity we are not tapping into.
So that's a very good point. Now, let's not forget we still have in fact, the diaspora collaboration for economic development in Africa. He will be speaking very shortly. But I also need to recognize some people from the diaspora who are very keen in making investments in Nigeria. Sergio Madu is logged in here. He's the president of, I think, Nigeria American Chamber of Commerce.
Chamber of Commerce.
From Chamber of Commerce, yes. And then we also have Dr. Eileen Zubeiru. She's representing His Majesty, Paramount Chief of Africa and all kingdoms His Majesty represents as the Director of Public Affairs, State of Africa Diaspora, and founder, African Youth Diaspora Organization. Thank you for being here with us. We also have Dr. Oluwatoyin Taiwo, Ogun State Commissioner for Culture and Tourism. He says, let's reposition tourism in the global world. Yes, and personally, I'm sending a shout out to Lillian Ama. I know you are here, I see you. Gloria Hall from Florida, I see you. And I'll continue to send a shout out as a yes. So on that note, I think we should bring in our speaker from the diaspora.
Okay. That's the for diaspora collaboration for economic development in Africa. And the gentleman is the co-founder Reacom Group Foundation.
Yes.
He's Dr. Raphael Elumuno Ajali.
Thank you very much. It's 12 o'clock here in New York, and I think my own part is going to be a little explosive. Thank you, Goji Africa. They are a wonderful partner in bringing aviation. They've always been my mentors in this business. And I say thank you to Sir Alex, because today we are going to fight in the boxing ring. Now, before I continue, I want to say thank you to the president and the CEO of Young Boss Media, and also the AYDO, that's Dr. Eileen, who is here. I Fly Aviation. I invited all of them to listen to this particular event because we are bringing in investors to Nigeria to focus on tourism. Now, I believe the government cannot do everything. It's a partnership. In this forum, I was told by one of us, that we need packaging. And for me, I believe there's something called collaboration. For your information, we have a strong team of agricultural experts from California and Los Angeles that the Reacom Group, in partnership with the Young Boss Media and the AYDO, are bringing to Nigeria. They are about a delegation of 15. Their first interest was Ghana. And when I was brought into the committee, I said, why Ghana without touching Nigeria? They raised some security concerns, which Sir Alex already had identified. And I said, Madam, we might sit down in the US, but I was born in Nigeria. I know what Nigeria is all about. And after giving them a wonderful pitch, this particular team will be flying to Nigeria to see Nigeria. Their major concern was flying. I said, Madam, we own an aviation company and we know a lot about planes. I can easily get a charter aircraft to bring us all the way, or I can work with the other airlines that I relate with to make these things happen. They were more than dazed. They were surprised. They're like, okay, if we come to Nigeria, our focus is culture and food. Now, I belong to a consortium here whereby we have local farmers that I have partnered with in Nigeria, between Cameroon and Nigeria, to ship food to North America. These are things that over a period of time, people have been able to find out, especially during COVID, that Nigerian food or African food is organic. They've been able to embrace it, that Nigeria is actually providing the food that we all eat. So it's a beautiful thing. Now, for the media part, why is it the US media touches the hearts of people more than the Nigerian media? It's because the US media gives positive vibes of the US. They don't write about people who are hacking your credit cards and all that. That's not what they're after. They're after positive vibes. That is why I invited the CEO and president of Young Boss Media. She's here listening. Our media organization works between the US, Asia, UK, and Africa in general to give positive vibes. Some days ago, we had a talk with Ehizo Jesabulo, who is one of the directors from Nigeria. He does movies and all of that. He was able to give a positive image about movies presented in Nigeria. My dears, if you do not listen to what is happening in Nigeria by Nigerians, you always have a negative view of Nigeria. And I'm very happy that this forum has been able to bring the Nigerian part. Now, for my brother from MTN, it's beautiful. We've been able to work with MTN in Liberia. And what we were trying to do is this. We spoke to the First Lady. We said, everybody's talking about tourism, aviation, this, but people forget the women empowerment part of it. That was why the first time I was able to speak to Madam Mineka, I quickly informed the CEO of Young Boss Media that yes, we have a woman who is pushing tourism. Now, in this particular panel, we need to be able to develop women so that more women will come into the tourism business. Akwa Ibom State, according to my discussion with Madam Neka, actually gives positive vibes of tourism. Very true, because we have a doctor from Akwa Ibom State who has told us that when your high delegation comes into Nigeria, we want them to touch Akwa Ibom because Akwa Ibom is rich in culture. At some point, we also talked about Tinapa. But guess what? If we are thinking about Tinapa, what happens to Olumorok? What happens to heritage sites? What happens to the caves? We have a team of investors who say they want to invest $40 billion from the US building Formula One racetrack in Zimbabwe on Victoria Falls. Why not Nigeria? So this is where the Goji Africa team, as well as all the team of panelists, we need to be strong to attract these investors to bring their money. Because the reality is this, tourism is a good business, but it depends on how we package it. Like Madam said, we are buying houses in Maldives. We are victims of it. We are the ones also who invest in hotels in Mauritius, Madagascar, and co. But how many of us is ready to invest in Nigeria? That is where we come together to work as a team to make these things happen. I would wish if I was given an opportunity for the president of the Young Boss Media to just say hi from where she is. She's listening all the way from New York to say hi to Goji Africa team, because I know with her content and with Goji Africa content, a lot of Nigerians and wealthy guys in diaspora can actually come to the US and invest, because what she does is the content Goji Africa can release about Nigeria, we have them on media on this side. And definitely the more positive things they see about Nigeria, it changes their orientation. Thank you very much, ma'am. Madam Monica, if she will permit, they could unmute your microphone.
Yes, yes, please. Yes, please. My technical guys, let's unmute her and let's see her so she can say hello to all of us. How is she registered? What's her name on the platform?
Her name is Monica Grant.
Monica Grant, yeah, okay.
Madam Monica, please unmute yourself, ma'am. You've been asked to be on mute. Please unmute yourself, ma'am.
Miss Monica Grant. Well, unmute all the Monicas you see. So, but I think, okay, I see from Young Boss Media.
She's been unmuted. She needs to unmute from her side. She needs to unmute from her side, please. We've unmuted her, ma'am.
Okay. Yes, so unmute from her side. Let her unmute herself.
Because the other Monica here, she's actually doing tourism in Kenya. And I love the way the Kenyans, they also portray their tourism. So I would also like her to meet Goji Africa, because this is how we take things to the different parts of the world. I told them, unfortunately, I'm a Nigerian, but if you don't go out to see how things are done, it will be hard for you to go further. But on this platform, we can be able to collaborate and give Nigeria a more positive image.
Yeah. Well, that's true. Collaboration is key at this point. Hi, it's Monica here. Monica, can you speak up? Ma'am, unmute yourself. Okay, we also have someone else from the diaspora who, Sergio Madu, could you unmute yourself as well and introduce yourself briefly and tell us what you have been telling Goji Africa? I need for everyone to hear. Sergio Madu.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. All right.
Can you hear me?
So can we hear you? Yes, we can hear you.
So definitely, good day, everybody, wherever you are. My name is Dr. Joe Madu, and I'm in Dallas, Texas. I serve as the president of the U.S. Africa Chamber of Commerce, facilitator of trade and investment throughout Africa and by extension globally. I'm also the president of the Global Diaspora for Economic Empowerment. And again, like my brother said, Dr. Raf, and all of us have echoed here, collaboration is the key. Leveraging all our assets is the key. And also, I'm a believer of not wishables. I'm a believer of actionables. And I said the same thing about 6-7 years ago with my collaborators at the Villa, with the vice president and Chambers of Commerce in Nigeria. Action is the key, guys. And as we speak right now, those who are interested in linking up with Isaac Moses, and we can have a conversation in the next 3 hours. Investors ready to engage, diasporas ready to invest, and that's what it's all about. All these wishables and all the grammar, believe me, has not gotten us anywhere. I'm not into I wish, I dream, and all that. We need to turn the dream of Joseph into action, and we, the stakeholders, are the ones to do it. If not, we can keep on talking. Thank you so much, and God bless.
Thank you, Mr. Thank you, Dr. Madu. We're really happy to have you, and I think we did the right thing by inviting the diaspora, because obviously they're so keen on investing. Hello.
Yeah, Monica is here.
Hey, all right, Monica,
I am so
let's hear
sorry
you.
about that. I didn't realize I was a panelist. Can you hear me?
Go ahead,
man. I can hear you.
Oh,
We
yes.
can all hear
What?
you.
All right, great. So, yes, I am the CEO and founder of Young Boss Media here in New York City. I'm so thankful for Dr. Raphael and all the work that he's doing to help push Young Boss Africa, our African initiative. And I was caught trying to like screen record, so I got put on blast, and then I got kind of taken aback. So I had to figure this whole situation out. But I'm so excited about this conversation and all the work that's being done to bring attention to Nigeria. And my goal with Young Boss Media is to bring attention to the African diaspora, the young African Americans in the UK, the diaspora in the Caribbean, that, you know, really want to be in Africa, but want to know, like, yo, what do I do when I get there? Where do I hang out? What places do I go see? Who do I connect with? Because, you know, 10 years ago, when I was going to Africa, I had the same questions. You know, what do I do when I leave the airport? Who do I connect with? And so through interviews, you know, we're doing a lot of work during this quarantine that, you know, we didn't know was possible until the quarantine happened, and now everybody's in front of their computer. And so we're doing a lot of interviews, a lot of conversations to connect the dots on what do the diaspora do when they get to the continent. And so we really want to focus on Nigeria. My father did his blood test, and so it comes back that I'm a little bit Nigerian. So I definitely have some ties that I want to, you know, bring home to the motherland. And we just want to make it cool. We want to make it sexy. We want to make it, you know, like the place to be, and where Black folks can come and invest. They can flip their money. They can have a good time. They can see themselves. Nigeria is the entrepreneurial capital of the world. So when it comes to hip hop and hustlers and getting it, you know, we want to be in Nigeria. And so our purpose with Young Boss Africa is to really put focus on that and bring a lot of love to the work that you are already doing.
Wow.
Thank you.
It is a pleasure to have you. And I can tell you for free that what they will do here when they come here is not a big issue, because there's so much to be done. You know, the popular musicians in Africa are from Nigeria. Nollywood is here. Then we have great tour operators. I mean, Epton is our big body. There's Natop, there's Nanta. And I think the president of Nanta is here as well. We need to give her opportunity to say hello to everybody as well. So, and we have a lot of very young tour operators who will give you the hip life if that's what you want. Whatever you want from Nigeria is got it. A country of almost 200 million people. Are you kidding me? Just come home.
We need Goji Africa in the US.
So the connect is there. Go get Africa.
We need Goji Africa in the US.
Yes, we do.
Yes, Goge will come there to bring you back home. It's time to.
But guess what? We had Goge Africa on YouTube some days back, and Sir Isaac and yourself some years ago. I think that was 2016. We aired that on our platform just for you to know. And a lot of kids going on YouTube.
Oh, wow.
Time for foolish things. They spend more time watching what we give to them. So we had you and Sir in 2016 on our platform some days ago. We did that.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Queen. Thank you so much for sharing the platform.
Thank you.
Soma, any questions for us, man?
So I'm going to be expecting your call to and I will give it back to our stakeholders regarding the kind of investment this gentleman from the diaspora would like to have in Nigeria.
Sorry, so you need to unmute yourself. We can't hear you.
Oh, Zach, you need to unmute yourself.
Okay.
I heard you, nobody.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, sir, we can hear you. Thank you.
Okay. Yes. In response to Mr. Joe Madu from Dallas, he said in the next 3 hours, he's going to be calling me with perhaps a conference call with 3 other investors from the diaspora. So, and I'm saying that I hear you loud and clear. Whatever we discuss in that meeting, in that call, I'm going to relate to our stakeholders in the tourism subsector in Nigeria. Thank you very much. I'll be waiting for your call.
Okay, at this point, I would like to also let everybody know that next week, we'll have the Lagos State Chamber of Commerce. We'll have a presentation from Akwa Ibom State Government. We will have, oh my goodness.
The Nollywood guys, right?
Yes. We have Nollywood, the impact of Nollywood on Destination Nigeria. We'll also have Mr. Brian Epton. He's from South Africa. He will be sharing with us strategies for collaboration to boost tourism in Nigeria. I can tell you for free, there is nobody that knows Nigeria more than this guy. He knows Nigeria like the back of his hand. He's been here for, I think, close to 30 years. And you'll be wowed, his own vision and thoughts of Nigeria. He's our greatest ambassador. So to cap it all, do you want to give a recap or you want me to go with that? Do we have more questions? I can't hear you, Mr. Shina. Are you talking to us? Unmute yourself. Ogun State is ready to welcome investors. Okay, I see that. Yes, you were saying, Mr. Shina.
I'm just saying I agree with you.
Okay. Okay, so on our recap, Sterling Bank have said they are ready. They are willing to partner. Investors from outside of these shores are saying they are ready to come and invest. From Epton, representing stakeholders in the industry, we are ready to work with you. From Mr. Alex Uba, your own is this side and that side, but the whole thing I get from your presentation is it is possible and it can be done. We don't have to wait for government, and everybody keeps saying the same thing. And I'm a very big supporter of that, because if we waited for government, my dear, we wouldn't be here today. And we still are not waiting for government. We're a moving train. Domestic tourism in Nigeria is a moving train. So regardless of what happens, I know the change has come and the change is here. When COVID-19 happened, we were supposed to have this conference actually sometime in April, but for COVID-19, we couldn't, and it would have been, it wouldn't have been virtual. And that means we wouldn't have had a lot of people like we're able to connect today. So my husband said to me, my husband and my boss, he said, a lot of people have been having conferences since COVID-19. We've been talking to each other. Let's talk to people that have the money. Sterling Bank has the money. They've come to us. They like tourism. They want to invest. Mtn has been investing. Let's start with the people we know and then spread it out so that the whole industry will see the opportunities and we can relate to the people that can invest. And by and large, our government will pick interest. So we'll also get across to, we've gotten across to Central Bank, Afrexim Bank, and the Bank of Industry. We'll share information on when they'll be making their presentations. Some of them will be next week as well. So we can ask them, what does it take for us to get that money? Equity funding, it could be. Whatever it is, investors want to know and stakeholders are very interested. Thank you. I'll hand over to my boss, Isaac Moses.
Sorry, sir. Sorry, sir.
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, sir.
Hello.
We have a few questions. People have raised up their hands. They've been wanting to ask questions for a while. I have about 4 people.
Sure.
Yes.
Hassan,
So
especially Hassan.
we have Mr. Hassan. Mr. Hassan.
Can we have that one by one after the other?
Yes, good evening.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening.
Yes, thank you very much. Just a quick comment. I've seen some questions from the diaspora if Nigeria has a clear-cut tourism strategy. Yes, we do. I just want to mention that all we have been discussing so far in all the various webinars, including this one, we tend to forget that we have a tourism master plan. And all the issues we've been discussing are all contained in the master plan, which we have refused to implement. But I can see that we, the private sector, can come together to implement that plan for ourselves. Some of the areas we can really work on them and implementing for ourselves. And that is the way we can go ahead. Because if we keep, the problems are gargantuan, there are many of them, and it can be confusing. We'll just be taking an aim in the dark if we don't have a clear-cut strategy or a plan to follow. And I will recommend that we go back to that master plan and look at it very well. All the problems we've been discussing have been identified and solutions profiled in that master plan. That's just all I want to say. Thank you.
Okay.
Can you introduce yourself?
That's Zachary.
You didn't tell us your name. Is Zachary?
Okay, could you introduce yourself, please? The guy, Hassan Zachary.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry,
yes. Pardon my manners. My name is Hassan Abdullah Zachary. I am the president of the Association of Tourism Practitioners of Nigeria, ATPN.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, that's fine. So thank you so much. That's a wonderful contribution. Okay, can we get the next question?
Hello, Chima, please unmute yourself. Chima, please unmute yourself.
Yes, hello, good afternoon. Good evening, brother. Can you hear me?
Good evening.
Yes. Good evening, Chima, we can hear you.
You can hear me? Okay,
yes.
I want to appreciate everybody who's been contributing so far. Yes, I want to appreciate everybody who's been contributing so far. I have a quick question directed towards MTN. I think Mr.
Yeah, I think he has left. He has a meeting for 5:30. So I think he has left.
Go ahead and ask your question.
Yes,
So
go ahead.
I don't know if you can hear me. I can't see.
Hello.
I think we've lost him.
Okay,
Please, the next person.
We've lost him. So the next person.
CEO, yes, please go ahead and talk.
Okay. So just a recap of hello.
Hello, CEO, back about TV. Can you go next?
Okay.
Hello.
Okay, the gentleman
yes,
is on.
We can
hello.
hear you.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
Please go and ask the question, please.
Okay. Good evening. I would like to appreciate the organizers and other participants in this very important webinar seminar. But first, I noticed that yes, the speakers have talked and have said a lot about collaborations, investors to come in and all stuff like that. But my own question is, there are thousands and millions of Nigerians who have interest in our culture, and they don't have information. They don't have information about their culture. I think publicity is another area we need to work on or look at, because our culture has not been given the needed attention or in terms of publicity. I think if those who are with the master plan, well, in my own master plan, I think publicity has been the major or one of the leading thing I'm working on to give our culture adequate publicity in terms of using both traditional and conventional and online media. I don't know if you are with me, Ma.
Oh yes. Okay.
Yes, now, one of the topics or rather some of the topics is the role of media in tourism development. strategic content development for destination promotion. And Nollywood will also be taking Face of Destination Nigeria. That will be the president of Actors Guild. So we are working, Gogi Africa started by packaging Nigeria before we went to other African countries. So we are core media people who happen to love tourism. So we decided to use the media to promote tourism. So we're going to also bring in our friends and colleagues in the media, and we'll talk on a roundtable with the same set of people and new set of people to also find a way to brand Nigeria. The money doesn't have to come from government alone. Individuals, even like a child that is 16-year-old, when they want to post about Nigeria, they should post something that is positive. That's the kind of message you want to send out, because people don't know the damage we do to ourselves when we continue to project a negativity about Nigeria. And when people say Nigeria is not safe, all I say to them is that safety is the absence of fear. Once you have a sense of safety about a place, once you're not afraid, you feel it is safe. So when people package themselves very well, you feel you're safe when you're in the streets of America. You feel you're safe when you're in Yeovil, in Johannesburg, in South Africa. It's a feeling. Nigeria is not rough as they portray us. We're better than that. So yes, we need media. Thank you so much.
Yes, we need to change the narrative.
That's what we're doing already. That's what we started doing in 1999. That's why a lot of people woke up to tourism, because we started showcasing it on TV 20 years ago when nobody was really disinterested. And we're still going strong, but now we have more people, more professionals, more people with even hotter passion than myself driving this with us. So if we don't have another hand up, I think we need to wrap up, because the plan is to end at 5:30.
We have Abdul Papolola. Please go ahead and talk, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Abdul.
Okay, thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. Please, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. This is Popolola Wasu Sterling Bank. It's been quite interesting listening to the kind of positive things everybody has been saying, and the action points that have been advocated by my boss. I want to say that we shouldn't leave this forum without taking concrete steps to action some of these things. I mean, I listened to Mr. Alex, and I'm actually feeling like spending my next dime on purchasing an aircraft instead of buying a Tokumbo car at 5 million, 6 million, 7 million. I mean, we buy our Tokumbo cars are more expensive than that. And like, if it's a four-seater, it means if I have that, you could start doing some shuttle between Lagos and Badagry and take tourists there. I mean, there's a lot of things we can do. So my point is, I think we have everybody that is required here. The Actors Guild, the associations, and all of that. I think we should set up an industry collaborative action committee that will take each of these things, harness all these energies, interest, and passion together, working on it regularly and providing feedback to the entire ecosystem. We've spoken today about funding is required. I mean, we need to set up the fund. Mr. Alex rightly said that, you know what, people are ready to put down the money. The diasporan guys have said this. Some of them are even ready to put in what they have that they don't even need to spend upon. So we need to set up a forum, I mean, a committee of guys that would work on all of this for the industry to bring it to fruition. Sterling Bank has thrown a challenge. Yeah, that yes, we're interested in this industry, and you know our interest has been quite clear to a couple of people in the industry. And we say yes, we'll have this approval for 5 billion. but accessing it and making sure it's successful and sustainable, and that we can even increase on that fund. Because if it's successful, the bank can expand the fund. But we need to collaborate with the industry to set.
I can't hear him. Hello? I can't hear him anymore. Hello? Oh, okay, you were cut off at some point.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, I mean, apparently I think I was muted. I'm saying all the challenges that have been identified and the several solutions that have been profiled today, from Mr. Alex to Sterling Bank to MTN to the diasporan people to the government representatives at national and subnational levels. I'm saying there needs to be an industry action team that should be set up, comprising representatives of some of these major bodies that would go and take all of these things one by one, start working on it, and
We totally agree with you. That's the essence of starting this conversation. It wasn't going to be a talk show. Trust Goge Africa and all the panelists here and other partners that are yet to come on board. We are going to make sure that collectively work with you. Wasi, I think you'll be the head of that committee so that we can work together to get things going. We will not stop at talking. We'll give ourselves timeline. Somebody said 3 weeks. Somebody said in 3 hours is calling from the diaspora. So, it's like, it looks like everybody is ready. The atmosphere is charged. So we won't let the candle burn out. We'll move with the fire as it is. Everybody here today, those that registered and couldn't even log on, we are going to send out a communication from this event, and we'll continue communicating with them. And we'll also make sure that besides what the Director of Domestic Tourism is sending to the minister, we'll also put something together collectively and send to the minister from this week's report. And we'll see how next week goes. I already mentioned those that are coming on board next week. We'll listen to more investors and more financial institutions and stakeholders to see way forward. The media day for this conference is coming up. We also have the day where we'll be discussing Standard Organization of Nigeria is here because you cannot practice tourism without standards. So these are some of the things that we need to put together. And I assure you that my boss here is an action guy. You know, I call him a private man with a public face. He does most work. He's more active behind doors. But when we pull him out like this, you know, he's always been in the public face, but he does more of action. So I trust him to take it up from here with our team. Thank you, sir. So on this note, Zach,
Please, Sadu, can you unmute yourself, sir? Thank you.
Unmute yourself.
Right. Hello. Hello.
Yes.
Can I?
Hello.
Yeah. This
Sorry,
is
ma'am.
David
David.
Okay,
David
go on.
Nunayo. I know that the time is not. We are almost at the end, but it is very important for me to just get in. And
David,
my name is David.
Where are you logging in from?
Yeah, I'm calling from Benin.
What country?
David
Benin Republic.
Yeah, David
Okay.
Nunayo is my name.
Ah, David. Good.
Yeah, David Nunayo, and I am a marketing and communication specialist. So I'm personally a consultant, private consultant, and also consultant for the government. And I just want to say thank you for Goge Africa, because you are one of the lights of the whole country and the whole continent. And we don't have much time to appreciate what you have done so far. But what is being done here right now is that action is already been taking place. One of them is a committee. I'm definitely, I can say that I'm already engaging myself to be part of that committee. If it is, if I can play my small role in that committee, because once everything is very moving very highly and good in Nigeria, then all the others country around will also benefit from it. So that means tourism in Nigeria is also our interest from outside. But now the last thing that I want to say is also is that, you know, whenever even a baby to call for help, you will be making an effort to get out or to stand up. Then you will know that the baby want to stand up. Then you give him, or you straight your hand to help him to come up. It will be exactly the same thing. We are no longer waiting for somebody, but we are going to put our effort together to let them know that we want to get up. Then the government will now see our effort, our light, then they will come and help us to be stand. So that's what I want just to say, that let us continue our way, and surely the most power people will join. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Last word from all our panelists, please.
Let me say something.
We can start with, all right, go ahead, sir.
Let me say something to David. David, bonsoir. David, tourism in Nigeria doesn't end at the borders of Nigeria. Alada, K2 are all part of the extension of the Nigerian tourism experience. So you are very much a part of this process, not just an external neighbor. If you look at the FON, or you look at the Ewe in Ghana, who are by extension Ife people, we can all collaborate together to create one African experience. I was with the Ministry of Tourism in the Republic of Benin, and we visited all the traditional kings. We talked about ideas, and so by extension, you may speak French and we speak English, but we are one regional community that is tied together in terms of its tourism potential. We've all identified that money is what would make this work, and there's money, and Sterling Bank will show you how to access it through these low-cost loans from the central bank, etc. So we have every reason to proceed. We have NECA and Isaac are both key drivers in this process. We've all come together to take the first step, and I'm confident that the very next steps with us within Nigeria and our own brothers in the diaspora. I put a post there where I said that the African American community is not an external community. I put a link that showed you that every African American is 74%, at least 54% Nigerian. So we are part of one community. We will not be able to travel in the near term across borders, but within the Nigerian market, we can start to put together these resources to improve the quality of what people will come to visit at a future date. And that's what I really wanted to say. I nominate myself to be part of this, driving this process, and I'm very hopeful that tourism will from today be transformed.
Wow.
Thank you, sir. That's a great submission. I see Mr. Shina. Would you like to give a last word from Sterling Bank?
Okay. Again, let me thank you for putting this together. I think this is the beginning of new beginning. And what I want to ask each and every one of us is, we should go ahead and execute. I'm very excited with Mr. Alex's submission. I'm very excited with our brother in diaspora. And what I'm going to ask for, like I said in my initial discussion, is let's go and execute. Let's go and do. And like what you accepted, is going to be part of the committee. I think Goga should coordinate us Wasu will be part of the committee for execution. Mr. Alex has also said he's part of the committee for execution. So let's start executing so that in 4 weeks, let's come back and evaluate the success rate. It's only when we do, we can see results and we can see more people play with us. Collaboration and execution is the name of the game. Thank you once again for this opportunity, and we look forward to supporting and collaborating with every participant in the tourism industry. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Our Epton president will have the last word. So
no, he's not.
Has he?
Yes, he has exited.
Oh, okay. Okay. So I see your hand, Dr. Raphael.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
please
Thank
go
you very
ahead.
much. We are giving our closing remark. My team will be willing to work with Goji Africa to extend the same way we are doing the tourism in Kenya, the same way we want to bring it to Nigeria. As you know, Kenya is known for the safari. We have a way we are branding it in Kenya, which I will share you our website. It's called the Safari Adventures Limited. My partner, she's already online from Kenya listening, and she says that she would like to sit down with Madam Neka and Sir Isaac to see how we can repackage Nigeria's tourism industry to be wealthy and healthy. Because Kenya, as you know, might not be involved with oil, but anything tourism, you cannot play with them. So we will be happy to work with you people. And but for me, I travel every few weeks. I'm in different African countries, Botswana and all that, doing business. We could actually fly in together. Monica, of course, will make sure the cameras roll, give the best of the best media. And then the second Monica will be there to make sure that everything is as it's supposed to be. Thank you.
Thank you. Wow.
Okay. Well, on that note, I don't think any of who haven't we touched in terms of MTN. Have you given your last word?
No.
I think he has moved.
I think he has exited.
Okay. I don't know if Mr. Kester or Sayane is here, or rather is still here. All right, on that note, he's here. Okay, so can we just hear from him? A last word from MTN.
Hi, Kester.
Please unmute yourself so we can hear you. Hello, good evening. Has he unmuted himself?
No, mommy, he hasn't. No, he hasn't.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I think we would move on to call it a day. The next meeting will be next week. We shall share the information, most likely on Thursday. And then our new committee will reach out to you and appoint the members and more like share the task. And that will happen before next week. So,
sorry, ma'am, we have one more person who's raising their hand. Kunle Adetoba.
No, it's been a beautiful evening, and don't let's delay each other. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, for me,
hello.
Yes, it's been a very rewarding time for me, and you guys are forerunners. So I just want to assure you that you have worthy followers in us, and we will not let the pace actually go low. But I think we can pick it beyond this platform. You have done more than enough.
Yes.
You have created enough pathways. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. More grace and more glory.
Thank you.
Sir.
Okay. It has been a rewarding experience. We've learned, we've heard, and an actionable point has been noted. So, and on this note, I would like to thank all the panelists for their wonderful contribution. And we look forward to next week, Wednesday, when we'll be converging again for another webinar to take this forward. So I think we'll call it a day for today.
Everybody,
yeah.
also say hello and wave. And we are thanking you, participants, for taking your time to log on and spend time with us today. I personally enjoyed it.
I had fun. I learned quite a lot.
Yes, so unmute everybody, unmute yourselves. Let's say a goodbye.
Hello, bye-bye. It's been fun being with you all. Mr. Alex, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you. I'll see you guys soon.
Hey, Shino.
Thank you, Mr. Shida.
Yeah.
Nana Fakoya Smith, you just put your picture there. I didn't see your live face, but you know, Gogi Africa appreciates you for what you do. Ajala Nene, the hub.
I'm here, ma'am. I'm here, ma'am.
Show your face and say hello. This is our engine. Look at her walking from the back. Say hello to everybody and introduce yourself again.
Hello, everyone. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Good evening.
You see, those are one of the young ones we're bringing up in tourism, and I'm so proud of her. She's going to be bigger than us, right?
So,
by God's grace.
Mr. Raphael.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Nice having you.
Yes, sir. Because you know,
Thank
the
you.
other day we asked ourselves during COVID-19, what would the young people be doing in America? And some people want to treat, messing themselves up. So the platform just came online. Let's get prominent Nigerians. Remy Duyo from here, she's an American Nigerian anyway, Bank of America former boss. She came online, she talked about her story. A lot of Nigerian girls and people around start saying, wow, so Nigerians can be this good? Then there was one particular voice note that was sent to you and Madam Nneka. This lady listened to us interview a lady from South Africa. She wept because she was like, how can somebody bring these people on board to talk about their lifestyle? She was able to be mentored. So Godia Africa has been doing a lot for tourism, but Nigeria now has to work with you to make sure this happens. We need to know more about Nigeria. And Nigeria has all the potentials, the landmass, everything. Our food we eat is all coming from Nigeria. So why can't we work with Godia Africa? So at least I'm happy the government officials are there, they are listening, because I know they will not want to put all this type of events together, but let the private person put it, bring in their partners from outside, and let's make it happen. That's what I believe.
Sure.
And that's what will happen. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you to
Thanks,
everybody.
Bro. I'm here for you.
Okay, let's have a slideshow and some Gogi African music.
Yes.
Oh, wow, it was a wonderful evening.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Wow.
Some people were, I couldn't reach anybody, people, but when they sent me WhatsApp, that's happened on WhatsApp. What is the name? I didn't see the name. They didn't send the name. Even if I Google you, I have to send her name. No, let me tell you what happened. When they send that, they send reminder. The morning of the show, they send reminder. And we were two, these are questions, it doesn't matter. No. It's a lie. Because I closed my video on my
Judge. Yes. I've been removed, right? Yes, I've removed it. So my phone is yeah, is everything is okay? I will. Okay, they were expecting the master.